Let's face it, art is dying. And content is the reason why. YouTube was once a platform for regular people to pursue and share their passions without needing approval from out-of-touch dudes in suits. Fast forward to now, and the face of the platform is trying to get approval from the same out-of-touch dudes in suits that have bought the rights to YouTube and own the largest search engine in the world. Everything YouTube was supposed to be in opposition to, it's become. But what's even worse is the acceptance of lazy slop content that has plagued YouTube the past couple years. But people will still watch because they talk about drama. Unfortunately, all people really care about is rage, and it's only been heightened by social media. Unfortunately though, it's starting to seep into other forms of entertainment and modern art as well. That's why the biggest story in music and maybe all of entertainment last year was the Kendrick vs. Drake beef. The reality is, both of them just weaponized the empathy that we feel towards victims of abuse.
I hear you like I'm young. Clean up the fact that you beat on your queen, the picture you painted.
It doesn't matter what the Grammys or the streaming numbers tell you. It's objectively a loss for art that two of the most important musicians of the last 20 years are trying to destroy one another. Not only are drama farm hit pieces seeping into other art forms, but so is the lazy slop as well. I mean, seriously, is Marvel anything more than flashy CGI slop at this point? But what's even more disappointing is Kanye West went from making this incredible film to using AI for his shitty animated video. But Kanye was right about one thing. In a 2016 interview on Ellen, he said,
Picasso is dead. Steve Jobs is dead. Walt Disney is dead. Name somebody living that you can name in the same breath as them.
It's been almost a decade since he said this, and there's still no one even close to putting in the same sentence as these three legends. If you're wondering why everything feels the same, it's because everything kinda does. We don't have legendary innovators anymore. They've been traded out for big tech bros and billionaire CEOs who just care about their profit margins. But I'm not just saying this so we can all just roll over and die. That's pathetic. I'm saying this because we have to be the change that we want to see in the world. And we can do that through making art, not content. And I know there's a lot of hyper-rationalists that will just write off art as something that's kind of flowery and an accessory that isn't necessary for humanity. And you know what? In some ways, they're right. I mean, if my house is burning down, my first thought isn't going to be, oh shit, I need to call an architect because my house design is ruined. I need to fix the paint on my door. No, that's just not where my mind is going to go, and I'm sure you guys can relate to that. In terms of just pure survival, yeah, we might not need art or artists. If you just want to survive, art isn't all that necessary. But if you want to live, art and expression is all we got, man. It's the only thing separating humans between machines, and every time you watch or make some mindless garbage content, the closer we all get to accepting a world where artificial intelligence replaces any sort of human expression. And maybe even after all that, you still don't care. But understand this, the importance of absorbing others' genuine works of expression isn't to consume, it's to develop empathy. Everything we perceive is through our own thoughts and emotions. The closest we can get into another person's mind or heart is absorbing their art, which allows us to become more compassionate and understanding towards each other. In a time where blatant racism gets tens of thousands of likes and the most powerful nations are openly conspiring to commit genocide, we need to empathize and understand each other now more than ever. Not only do we need to understand each other more, but also the parts of ourselves we refuse to acknowledge. I never explained this, but the reason why I named my channel after Spike Spiegel was because his character helped me understand the nuances of depression and loneliness that I had been burying in a non-cliche or sad boy kind of way. It was that subtle feeling of emptiness that builds upon you with each day, just longing for another time in your life that you know you can never go back to. It felt very specific to the life I was living at the time I watched Cowboy Bebop for the first time. It not only made me feel seen, but it made me realize through the power of art how I can connect to others who feel the same way. It also changed the way I viewed creating art as a whole. I didn't want to do it so I could be admired or anything anymore. I wanted to do it so I could connect to those who felt alone, the same way I did. In other words, I learned the point of creating art is to give love, not to be loved. And I challenge everyone watching to do the same, to just create something out of love and passion passion, not for validation or a number on the screen. It's easy to fall into that trap as a creative to obsess over the numbers, but in the long term, you'll remember the journey you took when creating this art, not those numbers, not those comments. Despite all the destruction and suffering in the world, I'm still hopeful that we can create a more ideal future, a world of peace, love, and understanding. And that vision is what keeps me going throughout the day. Maybe it's naive, but I just hope that everyone watching has a similar vision of a better world that I do. And in my opinion, the only way we can escape this commodified hellhole is through making art, not content.